Here we are. So tell me some more about the parenting counseling that you do.
So what I yes, so it's really been a personal journey for me,
Mhm.
because I've always been I've always gravitated towards the helping side
Yeah.
of life, and the helping people. I've always been passionate about that. So I had some struggles with my two children. I've got a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I was struggling in the year of 2020. And it was very, very hard for me when the pandemic hit and everyone was home and everyone was forced to be together and be connected.
Yeah.
So that really put a mirror up to my face. And so things shifted. The universe sent me what I needed to learn at the time.
Mhm.
And so I fell into this opportunity and started following Dr. Shafali. She's a clinical psychologist, an author.
Mhm.
And so I was accepted into her institute after doing some research and listening to many YouTube videos.
Mhm.
I was really, really drawn to it. I had started my healing journey then. So then I was listening and learning and started healing my childhood wounds. And then was accepted into her institute and then became a graduate. And that has helped me fulfill my purpose in life now.
That's awesome.
Now I'm connected to myself first and foremost. And now I have beautiful connection with both of my children.
Awesome.
And it's turned into a passion and purpose and meaningful life and career for me.
Yeah.
And love to be able to share my personal story
Mhm.
with parents, especially connecting on a deeper level, knowing that I know how you feel. I've been there.
Mhm.
I've been in that destitute, desperate pain point where you just are flabbergasted and overwhelmed, and your child is crying and you don't know how to soothe them. You don't know how to soothe yourself. And it's just, you feel overwhelmed and helpless.
Yeah. And you had said that you're the only one in Missouri that has your license or certificate.
Yes. Yes. And both. I am the only one in the state of Missouri certified with these teachings, because it's a blend, right? It's a blend of Western psychology and Eastern philosophy.
Okay.
So what it is the teachings are bringing both of those together and then working on the present moment. So what it is that we talk about triggers and what's happening in the present moment. How are you feeling now? What's coming up for you now? And then we work on, we talk about going into your past briefly, talk about your pain points, and talk about your childhood briefly, because that has jewels in it. It has wisdom. It's brought you to where you are now. And then we talk about that, and then we slowly uncover that and uncover the patterns that have played out in your life. And when you become aware of the patterns and the dynamics, you can heal those. And once you heal those childhood wounds and trauma and anxiety and so on and so forth, then you can break the pattern. And then the pattern doesn't repeat. Generational trauma is one, the first and foremost.
Right.
That's mainly prevalent for people. And it's exciting and rewarding for me to mirror to parents, and to mirror to parents so they can reflect and can see, wow, this is why I'm feeling anxious. This is why I'm disconnected with my child. This is why my son or daughter doesn't ever listen to me. This is why I continually have power struggles. I had no idea this is what was going on inside me.
Mhm.
And that's what I show parents. I show them what is going on and why the child is behaving in this certain manner. Because it's the child who doesn't have the language or the tools or the skills to vocalize and say, I really need you to pay attention to me now, right? Will show you in his or her behavior.
and a lot of the parents have never had any training on how to vocalize their emotions, and to learn, and they've never been taught to stop,
Correct.
be still,
Correct.
think, and move
Right.
forward.
Yes. Yes. To just go inside.
Mhm.
Why am I feeling so frustrated right now? What's coming up for me? Why am I so frustrated? Oh, because I feel helpless.
Mhm.
Because I feel helpless and I can't control the situation. I can't control my child.
Yeah.
Because I have a strong-willed child, right? And we praise that child for speaking with his or her voice, right? And not being the people pleaser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a moment, I'd like to go through a slideshow, show you what we're doing. I know that you and I have briefly talked. This is Carter. He's a Cardinal Cowboy. I know you've been
Hi.
excited to meet him finally.
Hi.
Let me unmute you. Sorry. There you go. Can you unmute?
I had always 45 things going on. Be careful
Right.
what you wish for, right?
Yes.
But I quit my nice 6-figure job to start this thing because I could see a need. Kind of sounds like what you're talking about with what you do.
Yes.
And I see so many small businesses and people that are really impacting the world. I hadn't even done my hair yet today, but anyway, there's just I feel like there's a need for smaller businesses and organizations to have a spotlight put on them that they can't get anywhere. And I figured out how to do it because I'm an IT guy / techie nerd. I'm going to take my camera and put it in front of me here so that I'm not looking off to the side the whole time. But
Okay.
there we go. So I felt like when I figured out that I could produce a TV show on ABC for pennies compared to what you would think, then I'm like, okay, we got to start taking this out to the people that deserve to be put there. And now we got some crazy stuff talking. Dawn actually started something up recently. She doesn't even know what happened since she called Ken and Worldwide Technologies CEO.
Okay.
But I won't get into with all this. We don't know anything yet. It's just it's an introductory. Somebody
Yeah.
I've been trying to. I've got connections with him through another friend, and I haven't pushed it. But this guy might make it happen. But anyway, the bottom line is we've got so much that I think people can contribute that are contributing, and people still know about it.
Exactly.
And it doesn't gain anybody's attention because it never had any kind of spotlight on it.
Right.
And so when you put the spotlight on it, they're going, holy cow, it's better than anything else that's out there. Yeah. And it's newer and more innovative. And that's why smaller businesses succeed, is because they can adapt more quickly than the big corporations. And don't even get me started about what all the stuff that they do, but they kind of see the little guys that are doing well and they buy them. You know, a lot of those guys are trying to, I hope they buy me for $5 million and then I can retire. Okay. Are you giving up on your mission though? So,
Sure.
Anyway, that's where we go with that. I knew a little bit about, Dawn does all the research for me to figure out who we're going to invite to be on the show because I got to run a show and produce, and edit, and do everything. But she knows, she understands. We have the same kind of mindset with regard to what we're trying to do to impact this planet, because there's a lot of need. I'm fortunate to have a mother who still teaches drama for Afton High School and taught John Goodman, for instance.
Yeah.
That he still claims out. He shouted her out when he got his golden star, his Hollywood star.
Yeah.
His gold star. Hollywood star. He said, I got to thank my mom, Roseanne Barr, my daughter, and Judy Rethwish, who's my mom.
Yeah.
So those are the kinds of people we've been fortunate. I just see the impact she's had. She doesn't make a ton of money. She's doing okay, but she really has fulfilled her life. And so I wanted to help. And Carter, you're doing the same thing I've done my whole life.
Yeah.
I start crying here, but I mean, it's just to go out and empower other people. She's a teacher, so she empowers other people.
Yes.
And that's what we're trying. And once people become less dependent, don't get me here, we're getting political, but if you're less dependent, you're more capable. Now we all have a better place, right? Because now we don't have to take care of you. You can take care of yourself.
Yes.
And then you can help other people. But I went through a lot of psychological trauma from a coma that I suffered, caused by a drunk driver. You can see the scar on my head there. This camera's high definition enough. You can see that goes over to here, right there.
I see it.
And if I hadn't had the kind of parents that I had to help me come through situations, I heard you talking about these kids, their parents never had any guidance. How are they going to help the kid?
Right. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
they
right.
just tell them, shut up, and I'm like, okay, well, that didn't fix anything. Now the kid's upset, the parents upset, and everything just went the wrong direction instead of,
Right.
so that's
Right.
all of what we deal with now. So there's just, I'm gonna hit this. I just got brought in. Dawn, like I said, she doesn't even know what hell happened with this phone call. She just called. I said, here's my phone list. I have 10,000 phone numbers that I've saved over the last 25 years.
Wow.
Call everybody. See what
Yeah.
they're doing. See how we can help them. See if there's a way they can share what they're doing and make what they're doing to make a difference. Because you're either helping people or you're not.
That's right.
If you're not, then you're going the wrong direction, because that's not the way the system works. I just got another talk with my girlfriend about this. She's had her mother, father, sister all pass away.
Okay.
So she calls herself an adult orphan now. And I'm like, I guess you can look at it that way, or you can look at it, you've also been empowered now. God left you here because you got more work to do.
Right.
And so
Yes.
are you going to squander? Because she's inherited 2 houses now.
Okay.
I mean, you know how many people, their parents died and they're left with nothing?
Right.
You're squandering this. She's squandering it. I don't want to go into details there because I tell it. It's not like I'm trying to hide, but
Right.
we don't need to go in. But
Right.
she's literally squandering it, and she could be out there doing something with it so that she could go help more people instead of being the victim. Because
Yes.
it's almost sad because she's got so much handed to her by virtue of her dad being very successful.
Right.
And now she's going to let it all go. That's
Right.
not what God intended, but you have a choice. And so it's finally struck with her a little bit today. I said, okay, let's call it the devil. Some people, negative is the devil. And she's very religious. I'm Lutheran too. We're both Lutheran by trade, by growing up.
Okay.
Does it make sense then if it's the devil? Whatever negative force you want to call it. And maybe there really is this devil character, or maybe it's just an innate way God made us that we have the opportunity to do good also, but we make bad and we do bad. However you want to interpret all that.
Right.
But you better you're going the wrong direction. If you want to destroy yourself, ultimately, when you help other people, you're helping yourself, because that's the way God made it.
Yes, it's in turn. Yes, when you help other people, in turn, you help yourself.
Yeah.
It's rewarding. Yes.
And there's some people that don't understand that. And so they go taking advantage of people and they wonder why their life has collapsed.
Yes.
And it's like, because that's not, I'm sorry, I wish it worked that way, but that's not how it works. Go to another universe on another planet, and maybe this is the way it works there, but that's not how it works here.
Right.
So you need to understand this. And I was fortunate to have parents that raised me this way. And I believe me, I've been through the bull crap too, of people lying to me, taking advantage. And I never retaliated. I was smart enough to not retaliate, because that usually makes it worse.
Right.
And you have 2 people going, oh, you said, and you said. I had one thing happen. I was like, I looked up, I'm like, that is an absolute lie. And I'm not even going to give it any honor by addressing it. I'm going to walk away, and you all just fight over whatever you think somebody said that wasn't even true. COVID stuff and other stupid stuff.
Right.
And we had to keep moving on. So got to focus my energy somewhere else. That's what this TV show is all about.
Yes.
So based on what I heard a little bit about what you're saying, what Dawn told me, I get some notes before we start these interviews from Dawn's research that, so here's what we need. This is what we got to get. And these are the kind of people we're looking for. So with that, let's go into this little presentation I put together that Dawn has learned how to present, and she's kind of made it her own.
I can see it.
We'll go through this as quickly as you can, Dawn. And again, I'm trying to push Dawn to get this through this fluently, and I not to be rude, but if it comes across as where there might be some disruption or something that she's not portraying as efficiently as I want, I will politely interject and take over.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, our little castle is hosted and sponsored by, well, not hosted, but sponsored by Carol House.
Okay.
Hold on, Dawn. What's the name of the show? What's the name of the show?
Your Little Castle.
Okay. I swear you said our little castle, but go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, Carol House, their slogan is because you like nice things in your little castle.
Yes.
And I told you a little bit about our show. We are also sponsored by USA Mortgage. Carter has his mortgage license. So a lot of our small businesses get to network with a wide variety of other businesses in all different trades because of the contacts and the networking Carter has done throughout the last 20-25 years.
Wow.
And yes, Carter, actually you have 14,000 contacts in your phone.
Well, I added a few last week.
I added 500 to it, but yeah. And this is some of what our shows look like. The different ones, they all have the ABC logo on them, and in the corner. We do a 28-minute interview, and it is a 56-minute plus record time.
Okay.
And 28 minutes of that is aired on ABC.
Okay.
And or we do a half interview. And I know we have talked about both, but you have so much information that needs to be shared, that is why I will continue to recommend doing the 28-minute interview, because of the amount of content that you will get, plus the clips. Anytime Carter asks you a question and you answer it, that's a clip, and and it's broken down into 30 seconds to maybe 3 minutes that you can put on your social media every single day.
I remember you saying.
Let me go ahead. Sorry, what was the question?
I remember you saying that when we spoke in person. I remember you saying that to me. Yes.
And the clips have become very valuable. I'm going to interject here a little bit because I'm always updating and trying to improve things. So we just joined forces with another resource that allows us to take these clips with a new thing called AI. Are you familiar with AI?
I'm not. I have never heard of the term.
Okay, so it's called artificial intelligence.
Oh, okay.
I know you've heard.
Yes.
You've heard of that, right?
Yes.
So the acronym for that, they talk about, oh, it's AI. It's smart,
Okay.
right? It does intelligent things. And sometimes you'll be very careful with that. That's where they're kind of like, hey, you ever slow down here? Because if they turn over the nuclear codes to the AI, then it could blow up the whole world, kind of thing, whatever.
Terminator.
But on our little level here for what we're doing, the AI allows us to use higher level technology to analyze what you're saying. They literally, as soon as whatever comes out of your mouth is recorded, when we play that back into the system that we've joined with, it picks apart every word you say. It nails every word. I've been watching all of because it's doing voice recognition, right? So it takes every word you say, and it says, she said, and the true theory behind the dilemma is more articulation with regard to child rearing. And every word it'll turn into text. Now that text can be turned into something that it uses to go find out more information. And it'll take the key words that you have spoken and find the competitiveness, the depth, the raw information pertaining to what you said, and those relative terms strung together or separated, and how they are reflected on the internet, and how what you're talking about fits in with that, competes with it, and how much competition there is for all of that. So it's a major little upgrade we've decided to put into this, and these clips now. So then the clips, they take that text and they put the text across the screen, like you see for closed captioning. But now you're seeing where people realize when they're putting their clips up, you see the clips where they're almost kind of like it's a part of the entertainment. It's just not at the bottom of the screen, which is your traditional closed captioning, right? Every show we send to ABC, we have to pay somebody to close caption it. And they've got software that does it now, but it's an extra fee we have to pay. And that puts it at the bottom for the people who are hearing impaired, right? So what they've realized now is that most people, every person, if you're a human on this little planet, the way it works is, tell me if I'm wrong, we see things, but we also hear things, right? For most people, like there's a few people they've had, I hate, how do you say this the right way? A disruption in their capabilities because their sight is lessened, or sometimes they're completely blind, or likewise for auditory. But 97, 99, whatever percent of this population, they've still got both. And what they realize is that if people see it, that's one thing, but if they hear it at the same time, that's better. Or vice versa, if they hear it. When I worked at ABC as an intern, Titus Tolson, I still remember this guy's first and last name. I've only run into him one time since then, helped me to understand that audio is actually more important than video, because you can't convey everything that is coming across. They see it, but what's being said? What's being said is what's going to go right directly into your brain. What's going to be seen, you're kind of like, I don't know what that is. Is it a red house on a hill with the sun over it? or is it an explosion of a house and there's the bombs coming at it? It could be either one. Until somebody explains to you what you're looking at, you don't know what the pictures mean. So the audio is more important. But if it's then dictated across the screen, and sometimes, like I said, they almost make this into a advertisement because they got the little fonts, and all of a sudden the big important word comes across the screen in a big font, so that you make sure and read that one, and it catches our attention. And they're doing these all over the place on social media now. We just partnered up with some guys that incorporate that into our production now. So now it's not just an awesome video that airs on ABC that makes you look like a superstar, which you are, that nobody may know yet, or few people do, but not as many people know that should. And now you gain credibility because people immediately go, they were just on ABC. I've had clients say this to me. I had a guy call up me about one of his competitors, and he goes, I had to figure out who you were. So I called the guy, my buddy that I used to work with, and I said, how did you get on ABC? He says, Google Cardinal Cowboy. He called me on my Google phone number. That's what the number I put out there, so I can track those and also decipher who's calling me, because sometimes it's a sales call, right? We get that a lot. 80% of calls are sales calls, I think, that we didn't ask for. But anyway, now he calls me, he goes, I got to be on TV. That takes everything to another level. So I think you understand that part. But now we've got this combination of things going on, and these clips are like, my buddy who's a big marketing mogul, he's been my mentor for 25 years. We help each other. I do stuff, but I've been the number one sales guy, the number one. I ran the email systems for Anheuser-Busch, literally built the systems. I didn't design them. Those guys got it easy. I make the joke, because they would design them and then they say, now Carter, go put them in place. I had to build them, load the software, connect it to the network, make the hard drives, put the network cable in the back of the computer, in the DPO, in the secured area in Anheuser-Busch. And then when I built it, then we figured out what they didn't figure out when they designed it. And I had to fix the problems. It was big problems that happened a couple times. And they said, Carter, you decide if Anheuser-Busch is going to have this feature or not. That's running the systems at a slower rate so they can't get their other work done. And I made the call. I said, shut it off for the entire company, so that it caused things to perform better. Those are the kinds of things I have background with. And so now we're trying to implement those kinds of strategies and bring them down to the smaller businesses who have a lot more to offer that most people don't recognize. So that's a little bit of the background as we jump into this now. I'm going to let Dawn take it over here, because I wanted to inject that part because it's new and she doesn't even know all the details on it yet.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's
It's
Oh, and
really
let me
exciting.
mention that my buddy Marlon, he said to me, Carter, you have marketing gold. This is like you're handing people gold nuggets to say, here's some gold for you. Here's some gold for you. And it's them creating their gold through what they're offering through their social media, because they have a presentation now that doesn't look like every other presentation out there, or it's something that looks worse because they shot in their backyard or their closet, was standing behind with the door open. I mean, these people make themselves look worse than better. It's sometimes okay to get the word out there, but if you're convoluting and making your message look as though it may be not up to par, that's when people immediately go, that's not quality. I don't sign up for things that aren't quality, because they don't have it together. And so then I'm going to spend more time fixing what they've tried to put in place for me than I would to just go get it from somebody who's got quality. That's why brands brand themselves, so you know that you can count on them without having to do any research, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for that diatribe.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, this is a little bit about Carter's background. Like he had said, he got hit by a drunk driver when he was 19. It was a fatal hit. His buddy passed, but it put him in a coma for 7 days. He woke up, pulled the tube out of his throat, and the doctors were like, that's amazing. We're so excited. But now we're going to take care of you for the rest of your life. And his sports career was over because he was winning the same awards as David Freese and a lot of the other sports players. He was kicker in football. So, you know, his sports helped him overcome and achieve and get back to and get better than he was when he got hit. And it took him time, but because of his background and his sports background, it's been able to bolster that and move him forward. And it gave him a mission and a passion to help those that also have to overcome, and let them know that they don't have to settle.
Yes,
can get better. They don't have to be a victim. They
yes,
can be better.
yes,
And between helping folks like that and helping the small business, it all integrates together, because having a big sports, icon, or a big politician or local celebrity is great, but most of the kids are going to be business owners or employees,
right,
and they need someone to look up to that is like them.
right.
And these small business owners, they have a background and a story and a history that these
Yes,
kids need to know, and these parents need to learn about, so that they can say, you need to be like this, guy over here at Renter's Garage. You need to be like this guy that owns, Coach House garages. And other people are roofers, and everybody has such a passion in a different way.
yes,
So it really has cemented our passion. I came because not just because of his brand,
okay,
but because I have that passion too, to help
yes,
small businesses. I have a story that most people don't know about, and I don't tell very often. But my story happened a couple years ago, very similar to Carter's, and I was in the ICU in the hospital a combined 10 days, and I was supposed to be dead. I'm not supposed to be living, but I overcame, and I didn't have the sports background, but I had the passion to move forward. And I
yeah.
know Carter, and he helped me through a lot of it too. So it's been really awesome.
Yes, what a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that with
Yeah.
me. Thank you for sharing that piece with me. And
So
I did look up, Carter, if I can speak now, is that
yeah,
okay?
yeah, please do.
Definitely, yeah.
I did look up your story after I met and connected with Dawn, and we spoke. And I looked up your story and read about your story, your history, your background, your purpose, your drive, your mission, the statement, the message that it sends. And I was truly felt drawn to it and connected to it because I have a history prior to my parenting and coaching and becoming a parent at all. I have a history of overcoming a big, big medical dilemma. So I too was on lots of seizure medications, and I overcome many, many obstacles getting to where I am now. So my condensed story is that I had my first febrile seizure when I was 9 months old. And then I had small seizures, simple partial seizures, simple complex seizures. And then they started to just circulate and grow in size. And then when I was becoming a woman, I started to have grand mal seizures. And I tried every medicine at the time: Dilantin, Depakote, Topamax, Tegretol, all of the seizure medications. The first one that I took was phenobarbital, but I had an allergic reaction to that. And then I took all of those, including Tegretol, and then I had an allergic reaction to that. But I took Dilantin. Dilantin helped me.
That's the one they put me on.
Yes, I took
Supposedly it
Dilantin.
saved my life. By chance, last night I was talking to a firefighter. I just said, "Hey man, you got a bunch of empty seats here. My buddy's with him. He's an older guy. He's tired. Can we sit down?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, "What do you do?" He's a firefighter. I said, "Tell me about Dilantin." He goes, "Ooh, that Dilantin, man." And he goes, "They're way past that." They said now they look back, they're going back when the ambulances came 20, 30 years ago. Like when they came, they killed you. Not because they were trying to, but they didn't know any better at that point. So things have really advanced along with what you're talking about there, it sounds like.
Yeah. And I'm 46 now, I'll be 47 in July. And I nothing helped me. So I took the Dilantin, I took Depakote, and I took just a cocktail mix because nothing would help me. So I'm taking all of these meds. I'm still having seizures. I'm wrecking cars. I wrecked multiple cars, had multiple seizures while I was driving. And I just had given up in my teenage years and early adolescence. I had gained a bunch of weight because I was deeply depressed. I had felt at that time that there was no outlet or no avenue for me. And then I researched and I found a doctor here in town at Barnes to do what is called a right temporal lobe lobectomy and do brain surgery on me. So April 4th of 2000, I was selected and I was approved to be a candidate for brain surgery. And I had my brain surgery at BJC downtown. And they removed a piece of my brain on the right side that's the size of a ping pong ball that was damaged and dead from having seizures. And ever since April 4th of 2000, I have been seizure free and I have lost 159 pounds and kept it off. So I know that there's hope.
Well, it goes into, not that there's anything wrong with your brain, but there was damage caused.
Right.
And so that's confusing. So the point is that whatever information goes into your brain,
Yes.
that's what you're going to live with. That's how you're going to operate. That's how you've been programmed.
Yes.
It sounds like in this case, they like physically took the component out that had been corrupted by damage, for whatever that is.
Yes.
And once it's removed, gosh, I wish it was so easy to do that for everyone else, but their whole brain is
Right.
misprogrammed, right? How do you remove how are you going to get in there? You got to reprogram it. And that's what we're working on.
Right. Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Good story. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I might share that story as I go around because I don't know anybody else. I'm gonna how to stop from crying here, but I don't know anybody else who's been through a similar thing like I have that had that particular situation. I've worked with 4 other kids, a bunch of kids. I worked with hundreds of kids, but
Sure.
4 of them that I worked with directly that helped them to come through a stroke or a coma.
Yes.
Stroke is a brain impacted thing too. The blood flow causes the brain to obviously have problems. So they, all 3 of them, when I got through to them now, and there's a 5th actually, when he had cancer, but his brain was being programmed by the doctors to not fight, to give up. The fight was over. Just accept the fact you're going to die. And when I talked to him and reprogrammed his brain with about 2 minutes of conversation, essentially saying, excuse my French, and I don't know if I said bullshit to him, but I said, I'll say it now, that's bullshit. You're not dead. If you were dead, then you would be dead. You're not dead. So are you going to listen to what these people tell you you're going to be dead? Are they like, they got super skills, they can predict the future? No, you're not dead. Stop listening to this crap. Get out there and fight. He was on his deathbed. I remember being there. They brought us inside the little curtain and all that stuff inside the hospital. And then his mom was like, wow, he's talking to my son with some pretty strong language there. But she came back to me later and said, thank you for doing that. He lived another 6 years.
Yes.
He wasn't
The power
dead.
of the mind is beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. And the mind and the body are connected.
Absolutely. The body, I say it all the time. The body controls, the mind controls the body.
Yes.
It's just going to do what you tell it.
Yes.
Right? If you start telling it, hey man, we're going to die. Okay. The body just says, yes, sir, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Let's get everything set up to die. Okay, what do we got to do? Got to start shutting things down.
Right.
Got to start turning things off.
Yep.
Okay, bam. 3 weeks later, you're dead.
Yep.
Just did what you told it to. Or tell it to fight and live and bounce back and regenerate or continue on until they come up with something where they can put you into a hospital where they cut open your head.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And pull a piece out that they could tell was the problem.
Yep.
That's how many times has that been done in the history of the world?
Not many. And it was new to the scene in 2000, right? So it was really new then. It was new to medical. It was all new. They were really apprehensive to do it. And I just had fought and fought and fought and couldn't take it anymore. I had done every medicine. I've done every level and nothing was working. Nothing. And they had told me, now, there's many things that can happen when you have this surgery. It's high risk surgery. You could have a stroke. You could have a heart attack. It could change your personality. You could be paralyzed. It could change many, many other things that are small and minute. But I said, I have to fight for my life. So nothing else is working. So I'm willing to take the risk and to fight for this.
Awesome. Okay. Yep. We got a lot to talk about here. Maybe let's go ahead here with what Dawn's got. I apologize again, but good stuff.
That's okay. This is such an awesome conversation. Thank you for sharing.
I mean, this might be one of our sales meetings or discussions about who we're going to put on the show, figuring out what we're going to do. We might publish this one after we talk about it. We'll figure that out later.
Well, our goal, as we had said, is to highlight the leaders in our community. Carter has had, 12 years of corporate America, 16 years helping small businesses, over 25 years in the industry of IT and doing videos. And he was approached by ABC because of all the good stuff that they had seen him do. And they
Sure.
said, hey, you want a TV show? He's like, yes, let's do this. And what does that entail? Well, you do the content and we'll put you on. He's like, oh, okay. So he had to figure that out. And with his IT background, he started automating everything and learned a lot on his first show. This is Your Little Castle is his third show. His first show was the Cardinal Cowboy Show, lasted a couple dozen or less weeks on TV, and it kind of
9 weeks.
9 weeks. It kind of merged in with the Cowboy Judge show. The judge who was the lawyer for CarShield. Do you know who CarShield is?
Yes.
So yeah,
He still is he still is.
well, yes, he
Oh.
still is the lawyer for CarShield. And CarShield came and sponsored the show, the Cowboy Judge show, and paid for that. And
Okay.
just to walk into the studios downtown at ABC is $2,600.
Okay.
So they would try to be efficient and bring everybody into one day and, do all the scheduling to have a full day of filming, and then have to pay for the production one time instead of every single week.
Right.
And so he learned, and that show just ended. It just ended like less than a month ago. Mike Carter has another show on because he also learned how to do a show, and so he produces another show, a legal show on ABC also. And
Yeah, and I think most of the, I don't know the numbers. Nobody told me who paid how much, but I know there's airtime and there's production time and studio time. And so between those, it was either paid for by Carter Law. So thank you, Mike. Carter Law, carterlaw.com, I believe. But just do a Google search, you'll see they've done an incredible job. And then I know another big chunk was paid for by CarShield. And they had probably a lot more to do with the airtime because they do so much marketing and television. It was very economical and didn't cost a whole lot. They got a volume discount, I think, that I couldn't get. But to me, if I would have been paying for this, it would have been at least 10 grand a month,
Wow.
knowing what it costs and that's just, and I'm talking about mass production where we bring everybody in. But if you do a studio just on your own one time, instead of every month or a bunch of shows all at once, it's $2,600 just for the studio.
Yeah.
Then you go from there. You got to get it produced, you got to get edited, you got to get coordinated, you got to get all the stuff done and put on ABC and the airtime.
Sure.
You're looking at $7,500 to $1,000 to $10,000. And I say $10,000 a month for what we did, but we did have a system in place where we could effectively produce a show for around $2,500 a show. But there was a whole lot of other things that went in there that were paid for that it's actually likely more than that. But I say at a minimum, if you did this on a weekly basis, you could do that. If you're just coming in for a one-time video, that's what all of our clients get to do.
Right.
They don't have to go in and do all that overhead. They now can just walk in and say, do my show, put me into your system. That doesn't cost me $10,000, $7,000 to do it just once. They take advantage of what we offer because we do this all the time. That makes sense?
Yes.
well, and on his first show, on the Cardinal Cowboy show, they didn't allow him to put the ABC logo on there. And then midway through the Cowboy Judge show, they're like, okay, we like your content. We know what you are. We know who you're about. We know that you're going to put positive for the community content on. So yeah, go ahead. And with this show, he sent in the original promotion
Demo.
it in there, and they're like, yep, you're good to go. He's like, even with the logo, yep, you're good to go. So his impact in the community and on ABC shows, but because they trust him. And, you know, we look for different leaders throughout the community. I go out there, search like I did, and found you, and your testimony and your business is fantastic. And I'm excited that you're going to come on. We'll just schedule it, you know, get it over with.
Okay.
It'll be a good time. And
Yeah, let's go through the details
comes
because
a
it's all,
win-win-win.
Yeah.
This is some of the businesses that get the word out. This is Sunset Solar. They did a second interview on one of our competitors on the Great Day St. Louis, and it has the Great Day St. Louis logo on it. And they ended up using our video when you went to their landing page to get their word out.
Okay.
go to the next slide. I think you can see that.
There you are. Yeah.
Yeah, and they even put on, so above, okay. Yeah, how I assembled this screenshot, but yeah, okay, no, it's on the left is the bottom of their page, but I wanted to show you, they thought it was so important that they highlight the fact, hey, we weren't just on Channel 4 or we weren't just on ABC, we were on both. They put that at the bottom. On the right, that's like a third of the way down the page, or maybe less, our interview that we had with them, a segment of it, 4 minutes and 52 seconds of it, was put on their page when they say, hey, you just watched this interview on Channel 4, and he says at the interview, go to greatday.sunset.com, and this is where you really get into the advanced marketing strategies, and that forwards on to, because I picked it apart, Dawn caught it, and I know how to dissect these things, and it forwards on to it's a redirect that normally Great Day all Great Day does, and they do great stuff, but all they normally do is just say, go to the website. That's what we do too. Go to their website. These guys are smart enough to say, here's a special URL that redirects to a funnel page. These are called funnel pages. They're not landing pages, they're funnel pages, because they're funneled to where there's no exterior content that's distracting. You can see at the top there, it says heyflow.id /
Yes.
Sunset-show. That is the funnel software they're using. Tons of companies out there now. I got in on one of the funnel software companies. First one ever that took it big was called ClickFunnels. The next big one that I found that I bought an unlimited license to, this is an important note. I bought an unlimited license to a competitor called THRIVE. My old company where I was the #1 sales guy in the entire organization with 1,600 sales reps. Okay. They're called Thrive, THRYVE. Love those guys. Decided I had to go off and do my own thing though. I got the swan made out of towels on the bed at the resort where they sent me to, with the presidential suite that overlooked the entire resort, because I was the #1 sales guy. But I wanted to do more important things. And so I said, I offered them, and nobody knows this little tidbit except for the 600 people in the room. I said, do we offer funnel software? They said, no. I said, good. Then you just said it in front of everybody. I'm going to point my clients that I'm bringing in through you guys to some funnel software that I'll just say, go get somewhere. I'm not going to try to give you the stuff I've got, but go get some of this because you need it. It makes it for a concise, to the point message so that you don't lose your consumer, your client, your prospect, the person you're trying to help. And because people get distracted easily, funnel software is vital. We're offering that now also. It's a separate thing. We do it afterwards. But the first thing you need is their attention. If you don't get their attention, it doesn't matter. Nothing else, absolutely zero of anything else matters if you don't get their attention first, right? You know that. So now you got their attention. Where do you send them? You got their attention on Facebook. You got, maybe it was during the time when it broadcast. There'll be a small percentage of people that actually watch the interview that aired on ABC, because it airs late at night. We're talking to them. I'm going to get another quote. After I saw this, I'm like, I can produce a daytime show too. It'll be more along the lines of the cost that they have, probably 3 times cheaper instead of 15 times cheaper. But the real benefit of this is not the fact that you aired on whatever station that one time, it's in front of 150,000 or in front of 5,000 or 10,000. It's what you do afterward that I learned how to do because I'm the freaking Cardinal Cowboy. I maximized every time I got put on TV. I was taking pictures while I was there on the set. I was taking pictures while I was getting interviewed. I got a copy of their stuff. I didn't bother them to try to say, send me a copy. Boy, they get aggravated if you ask for that too much, because that's extra work. That's not what they're there for. But I recorded it myself. I exported it myself. I screen recorded it myself. And then I blew it up all over social media, because that's when you get people's attention. The social media thing has leveled the playing field for those who learn how to use it, so that you get your word out more efficiently and for 10 times cheaper than anywhere else. But you need something that gets their attention, and that's why the show is. So that's where the point is. They took this video and put it on their website because they knew it was what was going to be compelling.
Sure.
And it was 4 minutes and 52 seconds of better content, or they've got their own content that they had, and they didn't chance to edit that and put it in place of this yet. I don't think they're going to, because in my interview, it's an hour. You've got an hour's worth of content. You probably are going to say a lot of important things that you can't fit into 4 minutes. Right. And I love Aimee. I love Great Day, because they're essentially justifying that this stuff works. They just haven't figured out how to make it efficient yet, with doing it in a fashion where I produce it, I edit it, I do the sound, I do the audio, I do the lighting. Everything is done by me. I'm training a guy to do some of it, so I don't have to do all of it. But they got too much overhead, and they offer what they offer, and it's good. But it's not as good as what we got. So here's I'll let Dawn take over again, because I want her to get this thing down. Those are a couple key new things that I have to emphasize that she hasn't learned yet.
Yeah. Well, and then a lot of our clients take the video that did air on ABC and stick it directly on the front page of their website.
Yeah.
And that helps close their deals, and helps your parents know who you are, why they should come to you to get the coaching versus someone else that doesn't have their certificate and doesn't have the training. And it's right there on their website. You know, you'll have a website that has parent training. That's a great website. They'll have your website that is parent training. What's the difference is yours has the video that your parents are watching and going, she really cares. Okay, I know who she is. I need to come see her. Versus the other parenting website that doesn't have a video on ABC, which helps add the credibility that you were interviewed on ABC. Wow. Yeah, that makes it significant also for you.
Sure.
It's the credibility here. Let me add a couple things here, because I think this is turning into a great video. Thank you for Dawn for recording this. Thank you, Aimee, for letting us record it. For something I failed to mention prior, and that is with the funnel software. Go look it up. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying what ClickFunnels says. ClickFunnels says they have a video on the front of their website and all over the place about funnels versus websites. They say your website is dead. They got a whole thing where they act like it's a funeral. They got this hillbilly guy comes up. We're here to celebrate the death of your funeral. It's funny, but the point is made. And right at the beginning, they say funnels are 6 times more likely to get your visitor to turn into a lead or a sale.
Wow.
Right? So if you're going to get 100 people to your website and you get 60 versus 10, why are you going to spend? You're spending the same amount of money to get them there.
Right.
That's how many people you got there. However you got it, paid, organic, promotions, SEO, Facebook, whatever you did, you got 1,000 people. Do you want 6 out of 10 to become, or 6 out of 100 to become leads, or 1 out of 100? It's actually more like the normal conversion rate people have on the low end is about 5%. That's because they don't know what they're doing. They just threw a website out there. Somebody told them they needed a website. They got their brother-in-law's niece to make the website for them, and she did a really nice, pretty job. But there's all the elements that make it. And believe me, I say niece because the guys, they're not very good at websites. Let me just say that. But the girls are better at this typically. And anyway, they put it out there and it looks great. They just don't have all the, how could she know this, right? She's done this as a kid. I'm talking about a niece like she's in 8th grade, but she's better at it than the owner, because the owner doesn't even know how to turn on a computer, right? Very often. That's changing as our demographic gets older. Facebook's been around for 20 years now. Facebook has been around. I'm like, oh my gosh. I didn't realize that. It feels like it was like 6 months ago. Anyway, 2004, 2006, it went public. Was it first goes to schools? I think you knew about that. But anyway, so then to the next point where you can go to, well, this is where Now this guy is sharp. Charlie is sharp. He's been on the show twice now because he's like, I can be on again. And we come up with a price for the production. I gave him a little discount. And he said, Carter, I invite the last 15, 30 people that are in my text list, get invited to whatever I'm doing that weekend for Memorial Day. Come to my house. He's like, what time? So Charlie shows up. A couple other of my clients showed up. A few of them, not all the clients, because I went down through the top 30. They weren't in the top 30 anymore. They were here. But anyway, I figured with 30 invites, we'll get 5 or 10. We ended up having 15 people show up. And then we moved the party, which I was like, yeah, oh yeah. And these people show up later. Anyway, Charlie shows up. He goes, and guess what? That second interview that just aired Thursday, it's already on my website. There you go. So Don, yes, it is the people who put this on their website, the people that come on our show, only the ones that want to make money put it on their website. There's a bunch of them. I love them. These are my friends. I know every one of these people who's been on my show personally. And I call a couple of them I've talked to. I'm thinking of one in particular. I won't say his name. I'm like, have you got anything out of the video yet? Because I kind of knew the answer. He said, no. I said, have you shared it? Have you posted it? Have you put it on your funnel page? Have you put it on your website? The answer to all of those questions was no. I'm like, so you think the one time this thing aired at 12:30 at night on a Thursday night is the only thing you're ever going to get out of this thing? That's what our competitors do. They do air it during a more prime time, but that's still not where 95% of what you're going to get out of this comes from. Because nobody watches TV when it airs anyway, except for live events, right? We all record Dr. Whoever and Judge Judy and some of us who watch that stuff. But you got to go back. So anyway, go to that goes to the final point, which is that conversion rate. The key to this is the conversion rate. I kind of already said it, but I said to somebody else, do you want to look like everybody else? Because everybody's got a website. Everybody's got reviews that say they're the greatest, right? Unless you're not on the ball, and that means something else is way wrong. And so we all look the same to the consumer, right? It's roofing company A versus roofing company B. They both have pretty pictures of websites of houses and roofs they've done. They both have a lot of reviews that say, wait a minute. This one has a half-hour interview, not a 2-minute clip, not a 30-second commercial, a half-hour interview on ABC. Who the hell are these guys? I should pay attention. That's what happens. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and we get results with our videos. This is Archway Contractors, and he did a drone video of his roofs, paid for the drone. The first video got 64 views on his website or on his Facebook. And our video, it was a picture that you can click on to go to the video, got 2,100 views. And here's a second drone video they did, and it got 132 views.
Wow.
So, the results are there. This is organic.
That second one's not a picture, Don. It's a video because it shows how many views. They took the video because we give them a copy. Correct. That's part of our agreement. We upload it to the cloud. I had to do that 30 seconds after you walk out of the studio. And I do that because I'm an old IT guy, and I was part of the DRP, Disaster Recovery Plan. And that happened one time. We had 2,000 mailboxes on one server, all deleted. Their mail was gone. Wow. We did that at 2:00 in the morning on purpose in case that happened. And I was also the restore guy. So I volunteered to say, I'll do restores. Horrible, monotonous process, but I've been job security, I thought. And nobody else wanted to do it. But anyway, there I was until the next day at 11 o'clock, stayed all night, got the restore going. My point is, we put this thing up in the cloud so that you never have to worry about where is it at, unless we get hacked or some craziness happens. And we've got extra security on all what we do. We've got redundant copies, by the way. But that stuff, now you've got that video at any time. You upload it again. You lost it. You don't know where it's at. I'm paying for storage every month, whether you use it or not. Your video will be saved there indefinitely, given the apocalypse or whatever craziness might happen. I can't guarantee that. But as long as we're in business and there's a capability for doing that, we don't have any currently. This could change for those people watching this video 5 years from now when we recorded it. But it could be that we changed our policy, we ran out of storage prices went up through the roof, or some calamity happened. Can't guarantee that. But point is, I've been trained in the legal side of the world. My dad, PhD, I went to law school. I went to college with like 12 lawyers. all my buddies. Don't mess with the cowboy. He's got 12 lawyers who all love him because he helps the community so much. That's true. I just call one of them. They're like, "Gotcha, cowboy. I'll take care of this one for you. Thank you. This guy's being a whatever." Anyway, we now have that available for you. And you want to upload it yourself, because when it comes from your upload on your channel, on your Facebook likes that better versus sharing a YouTube video from somebody else's. So I love Charlie, but I'll call him out right now. He has embedded our video, our copy on our channel. That's not even his channel, but it gets the word out there and it works. That's the first thing. Step one, put it on your website, get sales that are going to come in because they're looking at you. They got somebody else they're looking at too. They're picking you over him. The guy who gave us that testimonial, he sold 12 deals that he tracked worth $40,000 on average per deal for siding, James Hardy, which is a more thicker, heavier, more expensive siding. The guy, he told me, "Carter, I made $480,000 off of your one," at that time, 15-minute interview.
Wow.
Everyone should be doing what we're offering here. Many people get distracted, misinformed. I got clients that literally like, "We're going to be on." I know who they are already working with. I'm not going to say their name or who they are. And I guarantee with all that I know, they said, "Oh, that's a competitor of ours. We know him. He's awesome, but we don't want to tell you that." As a matter of fact, just do this one video and be done with it. Because we've called them back to say, "Why don't you be on?" And again, you said you were going to, and they don't. I'm not here to fix. If you're going to get blindfolded by people that don't have your best interest in mind, then I can't. I'll try a few times, but I can't. I got to go on to the people who are willing to listen to what does work. Thank God my parents were both teachers, because I am like entrenched in this. If you don't do what's right, you will not be part of my team. In longevity, it works. The people who take shortcuts and take advantage of people, it ultimately all crashes. Why are you setting up things for longevity that crash? Do it the way that works longevity. Anyway, here's this last, we're almost done here. We're going into more depth here. I appreciate you. This is our fan page. Talk about this one.
So this is our fan page. Carter created it from scratch, the Your Little Castle page, and it was approximately 4 months. And, it got in those time periods organically, it got more than 17,000 views.
Wow.
Minutes viewed.
3,000 1-minute video views, 43,000 views of just 33 seconds of the video,
or more,
and 3,200 views of video engagement, all off of less than 300 follows.
Wow.
And this is all organic. Carter knows how to do this. He knows how to get that attention for.
Keep in mind, this is a page that we started from scratch. This isn't the Cardinal Cowboy page. Most people are like, "Well, duh, you're the Cardinal Cowboy." And by the way, we started a new page with a little insight and help from Facebook that we'll talk about some other time. But we started a new page. Bam, I'm up to 3,000 followers. I average between 50 and 70,000 people a month. Do I have 50 to 70,000 followers? Nope. I teach you how to get organic, free use of resources that are out there. I was working with a content creator last night. Not working with him, but I met him at patios. I start talking. "What do you do?" Content creator. That's a unique one, but that's a popular one these days. I love the guy. I'm not going to say his name now because of that. But anyway, he's a great guy. I said, "Here's the strategy I use." And I won't share it in this video because you got to call me or get a hold of me. It's our own little secret. But when I showed him this, he's like, I'm like, "You're a content creator and you've never heard this strategy? You've been doing this for so long. This is what you do for a living. And I'm teaching you how to do stuff like this." And now I've been doing it for 20 years. He's been doing it for 2. But this kind of stuff, you can do this literally. This is not my Cardinal Cowboy page. This is the Your Little Castle page. You should be able to see that somewhere in the description here, but I can prove this to you otherwise. And literally with only 16 likes, that's how many fans we had. How the heck do you get 3,000 minutes watched? 3,000 1-minute views. 43,000 people watched 3 seconds or longer, because you saw 3,000 of them. That's included in that number.
Yep.
That's that. And what does that mean? They watched, they know the video and who it came from. That's maybe all they watched, but my name got put in front of them 43,000 times. for free
Wow.
in a 4-month time frame.
Wow.
So that's the stuff I'd show you how to do. That's included with what we offer. It's what's the price on that? It's included. There's no price. I give you videos. I show you. I walk you through. I've even made a video with a gal. I won't say her full title, but she's very high up in our corporate environment. And she's about to switch over when she says, I'm out of this. I'm not what I want to do the rest of my life. But it was in between jobs. She's did very, very high level executive C-level stuff for a little brewery based out of St. Louis. Then went to work for the government when times changed and people got laid off and whatever. And she said, I got to get this back on track. I didn't realize who she was until she's sitting in front of me. So here I am coaching this young lady. She's probably my age, maybe a little younger. And she's literally going, show me how to do this. And I mean, we made a video. She allowed me to record it. I can share that with you. And it gets through the basics of how you get this stuff going.
Right.
So this is Pastor Rispoli. He was our first client and first guest on the show, friend of Carter's, buddy of his. And he says, I just tell people he's very similar to you. He's a marriage coach. And he said, just go to my website, watch my interview, and they get to know you and they get to know him. And they're like, okay, it sells my services for me. I don't have to have someone salesperson. I don't have to spend hours selling my service. It sells it for them. We had him as a speaker at our this next level speaker series that we Carter produced, and we had a bunch of fantastic speakers that helped change the lives of everybody that watched it. And we recorded it. We put it up on ABC also as an episode of Your Little Castle, and so it's benefited helping other people throughout the community and across the nation.
And it takes our speakers to another level where they now get to say, not only am I a great person and if I got a great business, it has to be, that's kind of self-evident. You don't necessarily say that out loud, but you let people learn that, or else you get accused of being arrogant or whatever. But anyway, you just put it out in front of people. I don't care what you say or what you think, but just look what I'm doing. And so in this case, I said, let's take the opportunity. We brought an audience. Now they don't just have something they're saying on TV. Anybody can put a camera on. Here, we got an audience that showed up, that paid to be there.
Wow.
That actually invested their time
Sure.
to show up to this event. And this room isn't like 5,000 people, but there's about 35, 40 people. On the first one we did, I promoted it 100% myself, and I didn't even pay for any advertising. I just went out and reached out and posted stuff. And we had 40 or so, 35, 40 people show up to watch these speakers. And now look how cool that they look speaking in front of an audience. It's all recorded. So we're looking to do more of these too. And so this is something the speakers contributed to make this work, right? This all costs money. And so I did it for a very economical cost for this first time to see if I could do it. Well, like anything I set my mind to, I get it done. And so here we are. And all these people showed up. These are doctors, lawyers, marriage counselors, pastors, he's both of those, and other leaders all paid to be there and contributed. The next one's not going to be as cheap as this one was, but it's so worth it. It's worth more than being on our show, because not only is it on the TV show like the studio is, it also shows you speaking to an audience. So you must be awesome. Or how do you get a crowd of people coming to watch you, right? So it's another thing. So we're going to offer this going forward also to other leaders. And I think I wouldn't be bringing this up to you, except I think you kind of fall in this category also.
Okay.
As a real, I said kind of because I don't know everything about you, but everything I've seen so far, definitely you do.
Okay.
This is Isaac. I call everybody. Carter's like, you call everybody. Why'd you call Isaac? Isaac's already been on the show. And this is who Carter was talking about earlier, where he's like, I did 12 sales just on your video and with the James Hardy sighting, and it produced and generated all these sales for him. And he tracked it just by putting it on his website, on the front page of his website. And so he came in and did another one to rebrand his business and upgrade. And it's really helped his business out. And because of his testimony, it's helped other businesses understand what they can do with this video also.
Beautiful.
And that's why I say, and when I talked to you, I mentioned 40,000 because in the video, which you can watch, he says his average, I said, now Isaac, let's be clear here. Your 12 sales Are you talking about $40 or $400 repair jobs? Or are you talking about full-blown siding jobs? And he's
Right.
like, these were full-blown siding jobs. The average sale is between $30,000 and $50,000. So in this
Wow.
video, I said, let's just take the low end, because on the time, and I even messed up the numbers because I was actually in my mind talking about his profit in ballpark numbers, because I don't know it specifically, but I know the average is around 35%. I think later on he told me the number. I shouldn't even say it, so I'm not going to say it, but it's in that ballpark. It's kind of common sense. People can't just do things for 2% margin and stay in business. But
Right.
so it's 30,000 times 12 is 360. His average, though, between 30,000 and 50,000, the average there between those, the mean, I guess, is 40,000. So that's why I say the real number is 440 times 12, which most of us know. 12 times 4 is 48. Add the zeros. He made $480,000.
Yeah.
Holy manoli. Now, not everybody sells $40,000 deals.
Right.
But if you get one deal and you make $1,000, you need 2 deals, you need 3 deals. And when their deals are usually less expensive, they're also more often sold more readily, right? The frequency is higher. I would argue that he probably kept his business took his business to a rather than survival mode, because if you're doing one job a month for 40,000, that's good. But if you're doing 2 jobs a month for 40,000, if your margin is 30%, so what's 10% for? He's making $12,000 per job. Now, not making $12,000, that'll pay the bills, but you're making $24,000 a job. I would argue that that's what made his business flourish, not just survive.
Right.
So,
Right. Sure.
And the great thing is how many of these will help to bring people to you that you can help, because that's what we're about, is helping the small business help other people.
Right. Sure.
let's breeze through a couple of these more. That was the most important one. We've got a lot more testimonials besides this too, but here is the full interview that we produced.
So yes, this is a full 28 minutes that airs on ABC.
Okay.
We record a 56 plus minute in studio time with
Okay.
full production.
Okay.
And you're getting the 20 to 40 clips that we've talked about. And the new upgraded change on clips is a cost effective to it. And
yeah, there's an additional upgrade is what we're doing it right now. We might just wrap it into the price, but raise the price.
Yeah.
But it's not 20 to 40. This is so new. I haven't even updated our slides here, but it's actually the way the program works that we're using is it allows you to pick 2 social medias.
Yeah.
So the ones that I think are, and I picked it based on the format, because you want the standard horizontal horizon movie theater style, right? 16 by 9, and that's the wide, and it looks good, but you got to turn your phone like this. Instead of being like this, you turn it like that.
Right.
Well, for whatever reason, we're all programmed. I see people come up to me to take pictures and they're going like this, and I'm like, why don't you take it like that? Then
Right.
you can use it a whole lot more places, but we're all programmed to go like this. With that in mind, the format for the video layout, the way we do it right now, up until this last edition I made a week ago, it was everything got cut, and just people had to go like this. But the guys smarter than me go, yeah, you don't just need this format, you also need this format. So now the video gets produced in both formats. So now it's 25, it's actually an average of about 28, because I've done this, that they auto-generate based on the AI to figure out, because sometimes it's a 15-second clip, sometimes it's a minute and a half, sometimes it's a 3-minute, all depending how that AI adjusts what you're talking about and what fits in. It doesn't really matter. I had a gal, the first gal I offered this to, she's like, well, I think that's cool, but I don't know that we need, because my pictures that I was showing behind me, they got cut out. So I showed her an example, they got cut out on the vertical versus the horizontal. And I'm like, I'm not going to get into a whole discussion here. I wanted to correct her to say, it doesn't matter so much. It's more important you have an extra set of copies, because it's the same interview, just one is cropped and cut to fit vertical 9x6 instead of 9x16 versus 16 by 9, this versus that, right?
Right.
And I said, it's more important that you have that vertical one because that's what people are watching more of, or else it wouldn't exist. And so, yes, it's not good that your picture you had behind you got cut out. You were talking about how you do what you do. I won't say what she was doing, but it's a product that she offers and what she does. But it's better that it gets seen, cut out, than not seen.
Right.
Why would you want something done and they're not going to watch it because it's vertical and so or horizontal, and you need both versions. So what it ends up being is it's a 28 clips on average times 2. Because I do it myself. I click the button and I say, I want these 2 formats. I want TikTok's version, not for TikTok's sake, but because I know it'll play on Facebook that way, horizontal, vertical versus horizontal, and it'll also play on Instagram horizontal, and it can be used on all of them. And then you also have the standard vertical. So then it's 28 times 2, and that's within a 20-minute clip because I ran hers just on the 28-minute. And then, because we actually had some editing stuff she wanted done, she paid a little extra for some extra production because she didn't have everything ready for us, and I had to go do it and stop the show and go off and download from her account and everything from her pictures. Anyway, the 56 minutes can be double that. So now you're talking 56 clips instead of what we normally do, which is 20 to 40. And I get 20 to 40, you're going to get about 50 to 60.
Wow.
Times 2 because you're getting both versions. So now you're talking 100 clips. And because, now Don, we got to change this or add something here, but because, is it Aimee, right?
Yes.
Aimee, you and only you and anybody else that watches this video, actually, Don, we're going to give her this deal. And maybe anybody else that sees this video will give this deal for up until you get 3 days typically for make a decision in the world. We'll give her about 2 weeks if they watch this video. 2 weeks from today. Today is June 1st, 2023, correct, Don?
Day before, but yes, close enough.
What is it?
May
No, it says
31st.
31st, right. My mortgage is coming due tomorrow, not today. Anyway, so, whew. All right, so
Right.
with that, you can edit. I don't know if you can edit. You can't do it. You can do it in PowerPoint. You can't do it in Google Slides. But we're going to edit live on this broadcast to show everybody. It's an additional, right now, this is all kind of, we adjust our pricing all the time to get the best value for everybody. But go ahead with this. This would have cost, we talked about it earlier. I can show you line by line, everything you will have to pay for if you're going to try to do this a one-off with a production company that doesn't already have everything in place and the agreement in place with ABC like I do. I don't know anyone else in St. Louis that has that. I don't know anybody else in the country that has what I have. There's that you can be an actual production company for ABC where you're like, you work for them, or you can be where we have our contractual agreement that I have with them. But I haven't seen anywhere else. Nobody's caught on to this one yet. I think it's going to be out there for a while, but it's going to come out of St. Louis first because we brought it. $7,500 was what you would spend. Lights, cameras. There's a crew that comes along with that. You need them because they don't know you know how to produce a video. You know how to articulate, direct, line up the shots, all that. You got to have people to do that. All of what would cost would be at least $7,500. We do it for $2,400 now because I've wrapped that all in. I think you might have heard that pricing earlier or not.
Yeah.
But we're saying on for purposes of this video, yeah, it's a third of the price, right? 3 times 24 was 72. That'd be 7,200. It's less than a third of the price. Yeah. For you to do it yourself. Then you still got to figure out how to distribute this thing and do everything else. So continue on here, Dawn. Go ahead. You can say all this stuff.
So yeah, when we book you in, we lock you down for 600 and 600 when we schedule the interview itself, and then the final 1,200 is after the interview is recorded. Once you've gone in, come into the studios and sat down with Carter, done your full 56 plus minutes of record time, and he hits that and puts it up into the cloud. That's when we ask for the final 1,200.
All right, escape out of this real quick. Go ahead and hit the escape button.
Oops.
So that's gonna allow you to edit and put in edit that right there where you're doing that. Yep, click in the middle of that so you can edit that text. 2,400.
Okay. What am I doing?
You're gonna put your cursor in there. There you go. And then say plus, put a space, then a plus, then a space, put a $250 for advanced AI flips. It's not for you, Aimee, because we didn't have this on there before we presented it.
Okay.
We will throw that in with yours and yours only. Or somebody else who might watch this video, call me out. I'll probably work it into you. But going forward on this presentation, we're going to say plus, and then stretch that out, right? You missed it. Try it again.
Okay. Oh, just a moment.
Yeah, and then I want to let you know, I have to be done by 3:30 because I have to go get my 2 kiddos.
Sure thing, sure thing.
Cool. Yeah, I have to leave here at 3:30 myself.
Yeah.
And
So
we'll,
just
I'll
do
fix this later.
Control A, and then hit that. No, never mind. Just move on.
Okay, yeah, we'll deal with that later.
Control F5. Control F5. All right. Arrow forward. Arrow forward, arrow forward, arrow forward, arrow forward, arrow forward. And there you go. So 600, go back real quick. 600 down, get you locked in. We have people do that all the time because they want to make sure they're not going to get skipped over and have to wait 3 months as we get booked up here. We got another thing going on. We're going to be massively booked up here in a short period of time. $600 then allows you to then, when you book, okay, you're really serious. I need more from you to say for sure you're going to not walk away from this. We haven't had that happen yet, but I just know how the world is. And so that gets everybody locked in. And then you pay the final $1,200 after the interview is done. That's still before it airs. But if I go off and air this thing and then it gets aired and you didn't pay the whole thing, I'm stuck. So I just say, everybody, you got to pay the $1,200 after the interview is recorded. Some people hand it to me before the interview. Everybody hands it to me afterwards. Or they say, oh my gosh, I've had one gal, she goes, oh my gosh, I didn't bring a check and I got to pay you. How do I do that? Because they see this thing done and they go, I want that. So they're going to make darn sure it gets paid. So they go, this thing's awesome. They feel great about themselves because they really get to share who they are, what they do, and
Right.
a massive format. Then your interview typically airs between 1 and 4 weeks. That all depends on how far out we get booked. We've got 2 shows a week now. One of those shows I'm doing for charitable stuff, community stuff typically, but that's going to move up to where we're going to take, that's going to get taken over by the businesses because they pay the bills and I want to make lots of money so I can build baseball fields and do other stuff in the community. But
Beautiful.
then you end up having a third show we will add at some point. ABC offers me a third show per week a few times already. They always want me to be on more. They love our content. The people who watch our show, every show has to be watched by somebody to make sure there's nothing in there.
Right.
Yeah, I won't say who it is. She personally, I talked to her. She says, I love your shows. I love your content. I don't think she says that to everybody because I've seen the other stuff that's out there and it's fine and it fills some airtime, but we got a message here, right?
Right. Sure.
Ask us about doing something specific on location at your place. If you have a facility or a client, you want us to go visit the work that you did at their location, $500 typically, I'll come there to just film it. If you want me to do the whole interview from their location, we can do that too. That's typically around $3,500 to $4,000. Go ahead to the next one, Dawn. I'm going to finish this up so we can get her.
This is
Cedric said, Cedric and I were both the #1 sales guy in the entire company. I was 1 year, he was the next year. We were both on the same team out of St. Louis. These people are like, who are these guys in St. Louis? Well, St. Louis is a bit of a tech mecca, second to San Francisco, a lot of people argue. But anyway, he said, Carter, he reached out to me the day he knew my non-compete was up, which was kind of funny. And I said, you called me the day you knew my non-compete was up, didn't you? Because to come work for you. I said, that's cool, bro, but I got something I'm working on. So we kind of worked together, we talked, and he said, this interview has allowed him to now hire higher quality people because they look at it and go, dude, you got a 15-minute, this time we were doing a high-level studio, you paid more, but you got good looking. But anyway, we just figured our studio does as much and does well. But this is that other studio. We can rent this one if we want to. He uses it to hire people because he goes, look at our interview. People go, oh, I got to work for these guys. Look at this. Next slide. This is Mike Boyd. I talked to him later. He's like, dude, this outperforms all of my paid stuff. Like we showed you earlier, I got all that organic traffic. He says this outperforms the stuff he pays for. It's high quality, looks great. We did his on site and in studio, got him a combo deal. Here's the other option we have. And we had a third one. It's kind of like it's off the menu again right now. We'll show it in a second, but you can do, it's almost as much work for me to do 15 minutes as it is 30, right? Got to set up the studio, got to do the titles, got to get you in the studio, got to sit down. You're just sitting down for an extra 30 minutes versus an extra less 30 minutes, right? Because we give you 56 minutes. Go back, stay there, Dawn. And so 1,600, 14 minutes. So it's 2,400 for 30 or 28, but it's still 2/3 of the price to do 15, 14. So we can save some money. We had one other client wanted to do that recently, and I'm like, that's cool. I make more money. I just have to sell one other person that wants to be on for that other 15 minutes. That's kind of the hassle for us. But I make 16 times 2 is 3,200 versus 2,400. I make an extra $800 for a little extra hassle, extra finding an extra person to fill that spot. But if you want to save a few bucks, you can, and you get half as much. Some people do it, not many. 400 locks you in, $400 due when you book, $800 when it's done. There you're paid up. Airs 1 to 4 weeks later. This local star, everybody's watching right now. We're so busy with all this other stuff. We're not offering this one right now, but at times we do. Hit me up, hit Dawn up, hit Karen up. We got a Julie, John. These are all our salespeople and associate assistants. We can assemble enough interviews to have a 3-minute, but it takes us 2 or 3 months to organize this. So then if you're out 6 months, 4 to 6 months before it actually airs. And based on the cost versus the value, still a lot better than what our competitors are offering, because it's 1/3 of the price or less for double as much. But we'll get to this one whenever. 250 locks it in, 250 is due when you book, and then it's all paid up. And we dabbled with this one. We've done a couple of them. It's just most everybody says, I don't want to mess with that. I want the full thing.
Okay.
So more value. Neil uses it just like the other guys. I just put it on my website, on his Instagram. Actually, I said I taught him how to buy a domain, so people have somewhere to go rather than trying to find him on Instagram. So he bought the domain, Colonial Masonry. I forget but I got it, whatever. But he just gives that to people. It forwards onto his Instagram where he's got the videos. And he said this video is the best. He just closes deals because people go there and see the video and like sold, because he's his own sales team. Saves him a lot of money and hassle. As we wrap up here, Willie J was one of our guests on the other show that technically, according to our screener, said he's not at the level of some of the other guests. Smash, Anthony Bondicare, Robinson, Jay Ashcroft, who's running for governor, all these people. So my judge said, I said, well, Judge, I talked to him. I met him through a charitable thing. He's a good guy. He does have a decent following and a good view. Back then he had near like thousands of followers. Now he's got 160,000 followers. You see there? I mentioned in this slide, we need to update 142. Bottom line is, I said, Willie, how much? He said, I got a sponsor. I said, oh, cool. Now we'll put you on. He helped sponsor that other show because there's a cost involved there. Anyway, he goes 40. I said, what percentage do you think we helped you? Give me a number between 1 and 100. Because if I say 1 and 10, even when he says 1 to 10, that's still 10%. I thought he was going to say 3, 5 out of 100. He goes, first he starts off, he goes, 40% of my rise. That's what I asked him. What percentage did this show do to contribute to your rise to where now he's working with, he's on the cover, or he's on a magazine, pictured with Will Smith, Ice Cube. He's now working with Eminem. Eminem, you ever heard of him? Like Eminem, yep. Like back when we were younger in our 30s and 20s. I'm Slim Shady, the real Slim Shady.
Right.
That's who he's working with. And that's because of that. Stay there, Don. And then go back. And then he attributes that. And so instead of saying 1 or 2 or 5%, he said 40. I said, come on. He goes, well, at least 30. But he did what you should do. And he put it everywhere. And he took it to all the talent agencies. This is why he called me. The day this thing was supposed to air, I'm on my boat. It's airing on a Saturday at a prime time, which is decent. He didn't really care when it aired because he's smart. He just knows that it needs to air, because then he can say, I was on ABC. He called me and said, dude, it got skipped. It's not being played. I'm like, Willie, sometimes we get bumped for college football, for whatever. It's still going to air later. So then his heart attack stopped. But he literally said, well, I'm like, Will, I'm literally driving my boat, trying to talk on the phone, and it's easier to do on a boat because you got a wide lane. He's got to run into stuff. But anyway, I'm like, Willie, chill, bro. And he's like, because he knew more than I did how valuable this was.
Right.
And then he took it to all the agencies and he goes, hey, look at this. That's what did it for him. Same thing happens for businesses in a different way, obviously. And maybe you won't be a superstar. Most people don't want to be superstar because all the grief you got to deal with that. Trust me, I deal with some of that. But So be a wealthy business fund where you can just decide what you want to do with your life and with your money. That's where most people want to be. So follow up here, Dawn. Mike said, awesome content, love it. Use it all over. Now we got all kinds of content that otherwise we didn't have. We're paying somebody almost as much to create boring, generic, non-special. It doesn't have a picture of them on ABC. It's a picture of a roof, very neat, but it doesn't compel. And they pay just as much to create that content as he does to have all this content created for him. He just got to share it. So effectively, you're spending the same amount of money to pay somebody to do this, or you do it yourself and you run out of time every day. So that's where this ends up being really valuable. Brian's been on a couple times now. He's coming on for his third show.
Oh,
He actually allowed us to re-air a couple times. He said, we're going to re-air you. ABC called me. I said, give me a few bucks and we'll re-air it. And so he just takes the content, but he gets to do a seasonal thing. So in the fall, it's all kinds of other stuff that goes wrong with the roads and deer. In the spring, it's hail. And during the summer, it's something else. And I want to have a show everywhere. I want to be out there all the time. And then as we wrap up here, our local hero, periodically, I do some free stuff. And now it's kind of translated into where it's a free half hour, 15, 25, whatever I fit on this second show as who I deem is worthy.
okay.
And I think that's just kind of a good karma thing. You go out, help other people. They will talk about you and refer people to you who
Right.
are businesses who see the value, but heard about it, not through mass media, but through good old fashioned word of mouth.
Right.
So that wraps it up. We have 30 seconds. Did I cover every question you could possibly have?
Yes.
Dawn, you may have more. Let us know. At this point, if I was to say on a 1 to 10, how likely are you saying I want to do this and I want 2,400 or 1,600 or something else? Where are you at?
I'm feeling an 8 right now. I want to talk to my husband. Dawn, can you send it to me, my email,
Yes,
all of
ma'am.
the stats and the prices and then the minutes and the data?
Yeah.
Can you send that to me?
Yes, I can.
Beautiful.
Cool.
And
So that
let me
means you're
make sure
pretty
that I
much
have your correct email. What is your correct email?
So it's Aimee, it's AIMEE at awakenwithaimee.com.
Amy, thank you again for us. Kind of an extended version here, but
Yeah,
Dawn did tell me you might be somebody you seem as a kind of personality that might want to more engage into the depth of this. And so she read that correctly. And you thank you for sharing what you shared with us too.
thank you. Yeah, thank you for giving me the space to do it. Thank you for providing this platform to do it.
Yeah, if people understand what we're offering here, it's a no-brainer. There's
Right.
nothing like it. I'm just
Right.
fortunate to have the insight. My mom accuses me of having a fatal flaw, which is I have a great introspect into the abstract. And
Wow.
I'm like, well, Mom, I don't know if that's good or bad. She says, it's good as long as you
Right.
do good to help people, but it's bad because a lot of people will not understand what you're talking about.
Right.
But the people who do get it, the ones that make money, that are successful, they jump on this thing like that. It's funny.
Right.
And then there's some people who just don't get it. It sounds like you get it. You just got to
Right.
kind of get the final
Right.
house from your business partner, your husband.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
so very much for doing this. I'm going to stop this recording.
Okay.
And